I'm Judy, and in this video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to wear your newborn with their legs either inside the carrier or out of the carrier. Either one is fine, it just really depends on your newborn. Some newborns, they really have their legs bunched up and they just don't want to straighten them out. In that case, you probably want to wear them with their legs in. Other newborns are a little more amenable to having their legs brought down a little bit, and so you can wear them with legs out. Either way is fine, it just really depends on your newborn. So before I show you how to get them in the carrier, just want to talk a little bit about how to get their legs froggy. So basically you want their legs and their butt to make an M. Oops, where are you going? Alright, so see, he has his legs drawn up, so you can see his leg comes up, kind of comes down here, and back down. So he's kind of making like an M shape with his legs and his behind, and that's what you want. That's what you want them to look like when they're in the carrier. I like to have their feet kind of turned out, so I think it's a little bit more comfortable for them. If you decide to do legs in, the thing you don't want to have happen is you don't want their feet to be underneath their bottom, because then there's a lot of pressure on their feet and that's not so good for them. So if their legs are going to be in, make sure that their feet are out. And right now he's half asleep, so his legs are a little bit limp. Anyway, so now I'm going to go through each different carrier type and show you how to do legs in and legs out for all of those. And I'll do legs in first. No, I'll do legs out first actually, and then we'll do legs in after that. Sorry, little guy. Alright, so you get your baby, put him high up on your shoulder. I like to reach under the carrier and grab baby's legs and pull him down. So you can see here, I'm just trying to set, ooh, bend your leg, little guy. I'm trying to get his legs set up already so it'll be easier for me to get the carrier on. So I just take this bottom rail and I want to tuck all of this up underneath his bottom. If you want to, you can kind of lean forward to help you tuck a little bit. So I get him situated, get the shoulder where I like it. And then you can see here, his legs are up, his knees are higher than his bottom, and he's froggied. So then I can just proceed to tighten up my sling however I like for it to be. And there he is, comfortable with his legs in the correct position. Tuck a little more here. His legs and his butt are in kind of an M shape, so his legs are out and he's perfectly comfortable. Now if I want to do legs in, all I need to do is keep the legs in the same position, a little more here, and then you're just going to take the whole carrier and put it over his legs. Again, making sure that his feet are not under his bottom, that his feet still stay in the same position, same froggy position. So I'm just tucking all of this under, and I'm just making sure that his little feet are turned out so they're flat up against my body. And obviously that's hard for you to see because you can't see through the fabric. But, so his legs are still underneath. Now he's got this leg a little bit twisted, so I'm trying to straighten it out so that he's right up against me. As you can see, he's not a newborn that is really drawn up, so for me it's much easier to do legs out. But if you have a baby who just doesn't want to straighten their legs, legs in is perfectly fine. So now I have his knees are here and his bottom is here. So he's well positioned, he's not sitting on his feet, he's sitting on his bottom, and that's how you want it to be. So that's how you do legs in and legs out in a ring sling. So I'm going to do a Mai-Tai, and honestly this Mai-Tai is much too big for him. This is really more for a toddler size. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this twice, because he's pretty small. He's not quite 7 pounds yet. So I don't want it to be too tall. So I'll go ahead and get the Mai-Tai set up, and I'll do legs out first. What you can do is you can take a hair tie if you want to scrunch the bottom of the body so it'll make it smaller. This is a pretty floppy Mai-Tai, so I'm going to skip that and I'll just scrunch it with my hands. Okay, little guy. Alright, so you get your baby and get their legs set up so they're nice and froggy. And then I'm just going to kind of lower him down into the carrier and bring the body up around him. I'm just scrunching it together so that he has knee-to-knee coverage, but he's still with his legs, his knees higher than his bottom, and he's not spread out too much. So you can see by folding it twice, I got a good height here for him. And then I'm just scrunching this here so his knees are high, his bottom is low, and he's well supported. Then you can just go ahead and tie off however you like. Depending on the length of your straps, you can tie underneath the bottom, or you can come back and tie off here in the back. Now if you're going to do legs in, it's the same basic principle, but you want to make sure that you keep their feet to the side and not underneath them, again, like we talked about with the ring sling. So I'm going to move him up just a little bit and bring his legs in like this. And now this time I won't be scrunching the bottom of the carrier because I'll need the full width for his feet to sit on. So bring this up. And so at this point, the bottom of his feet and his bottom are at the same level. So his feet and bottom are what's touching the bottom of the May tie here. So I'm going to go ahead and cross here. Now since I don't have his feet out, I want to kind of tie across my May tie so that it gives him a little more safety so he doesn't fall out. Now be careful when you do this. You don't want to tie across their back because then you put too much pressure on the back. I'm going to bring it here still across the body of the May tie, but I'm going to tie it more under his bottom. So it's a little bit further here. So it still provides the safety little strap here on the side, but it's not putting any extra pressure on his back. So I would tie there, and if I wanted to with the extra strap, I might just bring it around to the back. So here I have him legs in. He's froggied. His legs are in a good position. He's not sitting with all of his weight on his feet. His weight are on the bottom. His weight is on the bottom of his feet and also on his bottom. So the last carrier type I'll show you are wraps. Okay, so I'm basically just going to do a front wrap cross carry. So I bunch up the wrap, put it here on my belly, go under my elbow and over, and then do the same thing over here. And this is a pretty short wrap, so I'm going to do a front wrap cross carry tied under his bottom. But if you have a longer wrap, you can certainly tie behind you or bring it back around to the front. So I have this set up. I'm going to grab my baby now and pop him in. So again, I'll do legs out first. So I put him over my shoulder, I reach underneath, and I hold onto his feet and his body, and I just bring the carrier up over him. I like to bring it all the way up to the neck. And now I'll lift the wrap so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just setting up his legs. So I'm just kind of turning them out so he's a little more froggy. He has his feet turned out. And then I'm just going to take all this extra slack here in the wrap. I'm going to tuck it up underneath him to give him a nice little seat. So you can see his legs are still froggied, his knees are high, his bottom is low. And then I just go through and I finish up the carry. I tighten up. Oops. So I just tighten through the whole section, the whole width of the wrap. Do this on both sides. And especially I want to be careful to tighten the middle of the wrap too so that his back is nicely supported. And then I will go ahead and actually have just enough wrap to bring it around to the back and just tie in the back in the very tippy tail. So I would tie a full knot here. So here you see, I'm going to undo this so you can see a little bit better. You see then that he's well set in a pocket, and you can do the same idea with any carry in a wrap. As long as his bottom is lower than his knees, he's fine. So now if I want to do legs in, if my baby is one that has really drawn up legs, it's the same idea as what I do with the May tie. I'm going to give myself a little more slack here on the bottom. I need a little more fabric. I'm going to take his feet and push them up like this so he'll be sitting on his bottom and on the bottoms of his feet. I'll just take the whole wrap and just tuck it up underneath, making sure his legs are still nicely froggied. And then again, I just take my wrap and tighten up through each section. Give a good tug there. So I'm tightening the top rail, and I'm just pulling through the whole width of the wrap, tightening that up. And then I'm going to cross underneath him like this, and then I'm going to tie here in the back. And if you have extra length, you can bring it back around to the front. I barely have enough here to tie a knot in the back. And so there he is, froggied in. This leg, he likes to keep it straight. So in an ideal world, it would be up further But for him, because he's one that likes to straighten his leg, I would wear him legs out. So let's pretend that this leg is up where it's supposed to be. Let's pretend he's a baby that really likes to draw his legs up. Anyway, so there you have it. Showed you several different ways that you can wear your baby in different carriers with either legs in or legs out. You just find what works for you and for your baby. And just one word, when you'll know when your baby's ready to go legs out, if they start trying to stand up in the carrier, or they're pushing against the bottom of the carrier, or they seem uncomfortable. At that point, that will be a good time to then just take the carrier and move them to a legs out position. So then their legs are out and you just tuck the carrier up underneath their bottom. Whoops, leg is still in there, isn't it, little guy? So you just tuck it up in there, and then their legs will be out, and then their legs are more free, and they'll likely stop trying to stand up in the carrier. So if your baby's trying to stand up in a carrier, that's a good sign that they are ready to move on to legs out. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks a lot.